Hi guys, Dr. Will here from Miami Spine and Performance. We're back with our whiteboard chats. So I want to talk a little bit about pain today because I've had a couple of interesting questions brought up by patients recently, and I feel like I'm sort of constantly re-explaining the same thing, which is great because it makes me a better clinician ultimately. But I kind of want to talk about pain a little bit because I'll have patients ask me, they'll bring me, an X-ray or an MRI. And there won't be anything very significant on the MRI, but they'll still have back pain. It'll be like, Doc, why do I still have pain even though the MRI shows no pain? Or another doctor may have said, oh, well, everything's fine, it's just in your head. Or they'll ask, they'll come in with, maybe 6 out of 10 pain and they'll walk out in no pain. And they'll be like, how did you do that? Like, what did you fix, right? And so I want to talk a little bit about what pain actually is, because I think to most people, pain is associated with injury, maybe with inflammation, with something being torn or broken, and that's not necessarily the case. Pain is actually a lot more complicated, and for some people it can actually give you peace of mind if you understand a little bit more about how pain works and how many different things can contribute to pain, okay? So here I have a little graph. Obviously, brain is in the middle. The brain is going to be taking in all this information that's over here, and it's going to be spitting out all this information over here, okay? So let's talk about a couple of the inputs that go into the brain, okay, as related to pain. So one could be things like anxiety, depression, expectation. So this is sort of the cognitive, the thinking side of it, right? Maybe you're anxious, or you're an anxious person, or you have a stressful thing coming up at work, or you have stress in your home life, or maybe you're feeling a little bit down, maybe something sad happened in your life. Well, all those types of things go into your brain, and they can affect the output. So they can actually affect pain, just how you're feeling or just what you're thinking about. Maybe your expectation is that you were going to be healthy and injury-free for 10 years, and then you got back into the gym after COVID and you hurt yourself, right? So maybe that experience will make something even more painful. Number two is going to be things like senses, right? Visual. So let's imagine a scene where you cut your finger and you start to see blood, right? You look down at your finger, you see a cut and you see blood. Well, that's actually going to make the pain experience worse, right? Anybody that has kids knows that, as soon as a little kid sees blood, it makes them scream and cry, even if it doesn't hurt that much, right? Because it's the actual visual side of it. Same could go for bruising or swelling or anything like that. So all those visual cues actually make the pain worse. Same with vestibular or auditory, right? So if you hear a pop or a snap, even if it doesn't mean anything, because as you guys know, you crack your knuckles, you come in and get adjusted, all that feels great. But sometimes if you hear a pop during an injury, you might, in your head, convince yourself that you've broken or torn something. So that can make it worse. And then the sensory side as well. So actually what you're feeling on the nerve endings, right? So your pain receptors and your touch receptors can all influence pain. And then the last one is a little more complicated. So that's the HPA axis. So that's hypothalamus, pituitary, adrenal gland. So your cortisol levels, your immune system health, your limbic system, which is sort of your inner sort of emotional system. So that's where things like your sleep, your nutrition, your lifestyle, hydration, do you drink, do you smoke, all those sorts of things can make the pain better or worse. And that's why when people come in to the clinic, we also will ask about sleep. We'll talk about nutrition. We'll talk about maybe some supplements that can be used to help speed up the recovery process, because all that is inputs into the system that affect the output, okay? So now let's talk about how the brain responds to things and gives output, right? Number one is going to be stress. So as soon as you have an injury, there's going to be a stress response. So it's going to change your cortisol levels. It's going to change your immune system, right? It might cause your body to have an inflammatory response, right? So your immune system is going to be working overtime to heal that injury, okay? And that's one of the reasons why I talk about maybe increasing sleep, maybe increasing calories, and increasing hydration when you're recovering from an injury, because your body is working at the chemical level to heal that injury. Number two is going to be voluntary and involuntary patterns. So this refers to things like muscle spasm or a movement lock, right? Maybe some of you, let's say you were bench pressing and you hurt the front of your shoulder, and now you go to lift your arm overhead and it's a little bit blocked, right? And you have 100% range of motion on the other side. So that's your body reacting to that injury and sort of locking down that area to try to be protective. So that's one of the things as well that we go after in the clinic in the form of sort of manual therapy, soft tissue work, adjustments, and different types of rehab exercises and stretches to help you unlock some of those voluntary and involuntary patterns. And then the last one is pain, right? That's what you're perceiving as being painful, and that experience is different for everybody. But these are really three of the main ways the body will react to any injury. So this gives you guys an idea of that it's not as simple as, oh, one thing gets injured, pain level goes here, and then we just need to sort of take time off, or we're kind of stuck in pain forever. There's so much that goes into the pain experience. So as you can see, there's a lot of inputs that we can give you guys when you come to the clinic to help change these outputs, right? And so that's why you're able to come into the clinic and you're able to get it out of pain quickly, or that's why in some cases maybe it does take a little longer, or we do have to go after some lifestyle things, or we have to co-manage with our functional medicine doctor on some cases. Because there's really a lot to it, and this is something that we obviously explain to our patients, but I just wanted to kind of summarize it for you guys, or any of you clinicians out there that are watching. This is sort of our approach to pain, and this is sort of what goes on behind the scenes. So thank you guys for watching. Hopefully I didn't ramble too much, and it's interesting for some of you. So have a great week, guys.